For years now, people have been setting up a little contest between crypto and gold. But that's like comparing a truck with an SUV. Both carry stuff and travel from A to B, but they do different jobs. Gold's job is to keep the value of your money safe and preserve its value. And since Ukraine and the oil and inflation crisis, it's done a brilliant job compared to stocks and other investments. So if you're worried about what's going on right now and who isn't, just talk to an expert at Noble Gold about precious metals IRAs for your retirement. They'll put you straight on your options and hold your hand through the whole setup process. And this month, for any qualified IRA, you'll get an incredible 3-ounce silver American Virtue coin, completely free as a thank you. Call 877-646-5347 now to find out more, or visit noblegoldinvestment.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com.
Welcome to another episode of the I'm Doing Great podcast. This is Mike Lerner with my beautiful co-host Gina Bontempo is here. I'm sitting by the wood, and now we have a wide shot because there's just the two of us today.
Yes, we are Sans guest.
Sans guest.
Which it's been a while.
Mit-out guest.
It's been a while.
What is that? It's a German term, mit-out sound. I think that had to do with like classical
music. All I know about the Germans, they say Tschüss. Does that mean goodbye? Tschüss. I lived in Germany for like 6 months.
Really?
Oh my gosh, don't. Stop. That's not what I was saying. I think that's like how they say goodbye. Any Germans?
Probably, yeah. Oh, there's some people in Germany that watch. I think 3. Yeah, last time I looked at the YouTube analytics.
I actually really like the German language. People always think I'm crazy. I prefer to listen to German over French. I don't like the French language very much. I really like the German language. People think I'm crazy for saying that.
I would love to learn German and Russian. I think those would be German, Russian, Japanese.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good, yeah?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. That's all I really know.
That's all I know. I don't even know if juice is a thing.
Schnell, you always hear from the World War II movies. Bach Schnell.
I like Inglourious Bastards a lot. I feel like going back to rewatch it.
Yeah, you should do that. All right, let's get into the episode. First of all, I hope you guys liked the ad read that Gina did. First attempt. We only did that because someone thought I was dying and had a gun pointed at me while I was reading our ads. So that's why.
You did a little bit. You looked like you were very much in pain.
My wife pointed out a comment that said, I would buy gold if Mike didn't look like he was being held hostage. So thank you to my wife and thank you to the commenter. We hope you buy a gold IRA now.
So I hope that I was enthusiastic enough reading that ad.
Yeah, noblegoldinvestments.
Noblegoldinvestments.com.
You get a free coin, I guess, which you still want one.
Where's my coin? I got to get a coin.
Shout out to Superior Defense Company. I'm wearing another one of their shirts. They just released it. We had someone point out it a couple of episodes ago, like, oh, Sup Def shirt. And then the owner of Sup Def was like, nice. And I support the company. I buy their shirts. I don't look out for handouts. I really don't. I don't want handouts. I've never liked when companies have been like, hey, can I send you something? And be like, I would love to pay for it. I don't like free things. There just feels like a quid
weird.
Pro quo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
First Form reached out to me and asked to send me stuff, and I was a little bit skeptical. I was like, sure. And now they're my favorite thing on the planet.
Yeah.
Well, my favorite supplement company on the planet. I don't want to be hyperbolic, because one thing that I've realized is that women overuse certain terms. They're hyperbolic with terms like literally. Like literally. I was watching... well, obviously, this is what you get for watching reality dating TV shows, but the girls kept saying things like, we are literally the same person. We are like, that guy, he is like, we are like literally the same person. I'm like, no, you are not.
Speaking of reality shows, there's a new season of Selling Sunset that is up on Netflix.
I never watched that.
Don't.
Is it?
Don't.
No bueno?
I hate watch it. Carly watches it. Selling Sunset is the reason why I got my real estate license, because I said if these bimbos could get real estate licenses, why can't I?
Well, probably because they have very large fake breasts.
Not all of them.
Okay.
These aren't real people. You have to understand, any reality show that's put out, they're not real.
They're actors?
It's not real. No, it's not.
Or
that
like
they're actors.
Robots.
They're robots.
Oh, okay.
They're just not real. If any of these women showed up to a $10 million house that I was about to buy, I would say, can you send me a real person? Because I'm about to spend $10 million on this house, and you are a joke. You are a joke. Just watch the show. Watch the first season, or even watch the newest season.
Wait, this is the one where it was trending that in the newest season, one of the girls said that Ben Affleck's matched with her on Raya.
Maybe.
That's like a thing.
They
that
had
was
mentioned
trending.
something. Yeah. I don't know. I don't keep up with any of that stuff.
I hate watch reality dating TV shows like the blind one, Love is Blind.
Love is Blind, Married at First Sight. Yeah.
Yeah, I am. My husband and I used to hate watch 90 Day Fiancé. Because it's just you watch those shows and you automatically feel better about yourself.
There are too many plot lines for 90 Day Fiancés. Like they can condense that whole show into 3 episodes.
That's true. There's a whole lot of nothing that happens.
I was also scouted to be on Married at First Sight. 2014, 2015. I had a friend who knew the casting director, and he had given her my information. She reached out. She said, "Hey, do you want to?"
Oh my gosh! Imagine what your life would have been.
I auditioned, and they wanted me to be on it. So I think I got down.
Stop it!
Yeah, I said, "Well, I called my ex, who I was engaged to, and I said, I'm thinking about going on the show, but I don't want to trivialize what an engagement or what a marriage is. And I think that would be like a slap in the face to you if I did that. Like if I just married some stranger for TV." She was like, "I don't care what you do." I said, "Okay. This is why we're exes. I don't care what you do."
Yeah.
I didn't go on the show though, thank God.
Yeah, imagine what would have happened.
People go on these shows now to become influencers. That's what they do.
Yes, that's what happened with Love is Blind.
It's the pipeline to influentiality.
Influentiality.
The eventuality of influentiality.
The eventuality.
A new bike. A new book. A new bike. A new book by Dr. Michael.
So what do we want to do today? Oh, so
wait, I wanted to talk about ads for a second.
Oh, hold on. Yeah, okay, let's do that first. And then we can get into Elon Musk and Twitter.
This is just, it's a point of contention for me. I understand ads are boring. Ads sometimes suck. But the story of this podcast begins with Gina and I spending a lot of our own money. Okay? Thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
We would have liked to continue to do that forever, but if we did, bad business people.
Yeah.
Dumb. So when the opportunity comes for a sponsor to basically give us money to read their ads, we're going to do that so we can recoup our losses.
I just want to remind everybody that you get this show for free.
Exactly. The only thing that anyone that wants to pay for, if they want to, go to our locals, doinggreat.locals.com.
Yeah. No ads over there.
No ads over there. You pay 2 lattes a month for it, or you pay, 3 Netflix's subscriptions for 1 year of it. I think it's $50 for the year.
Really?
On locals? Yeah, I think so. So yeah, there's no ads over there, and you get a little bit of extra content over there. But if you don't like the ads, please do not feel compelled to DM me and tell me that you don't like the ads, because ultimately, I don't care.
Yeah. Also, I think I mentioned this to you before we turned the cameras on. I think most people just have zero idea what it takes to do a show. Mm-hmm. They think that you just turn on a camera and sit down and talk, and then abracadabra, it suddenly appears on YouTube and Apple and Spotify, perfectly edited and the sound edited. That's not it. So
the show doesn't end when the cameras turn off. Yeah. Just to let you guys know, like
no.
The audio for the audio podcast, which there are no ads on. We have to pay for the hosting site. And because we usually go over the time allotted, because I think we have like 8 hours per month right now or 10 hours per month. Sometimes we go over because sometimes our podcasts are a little bit longer than the other ones. So I have to pay for that. There's a monthly thing for that.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It takes time. Now we've got some equipment in here that allows for a shorter turnaround time for the edits, which is good. But yeah, I mean, that kind of... I don't want to turn myself into a victim, or I don't want people to feel bad for me. That just kind of bummed me out that I got that. It was this very patronizing comment message that somebody sent me.
I think it wasn't what the person said. It was definitely how they said it, like essentially very passive aggressively attacking you because we had ads in the show.
Yeah.
But anyway, look, sorry guys. Sorry.
Sorry. I mean, you can listen to it on Spotify, Amazon, and Apple. Like I said, there are no ads there, but why wouldn't you want to see us? Yeah. Why wouldn't you want to look at us? We would like some attention every now and then to our faces and to our physical appearances.
I think we're pretty decent.
Someone said smile more.
Oh, isn't that what they say to women and the feminists get really mad?
Yeah.
Did they tell you to also wear more makeup? I don't know why.
I don't know what it is.
I don't know why women get offended when they're told to smile more, to wear more makeup.
Wear less makeup.
Or to, what's the other one they're told a lot? But they don't. Oh, women don't like it when they're called darling or honey or babe or sweetie, but I think it's cute.
I think it's nice when the husband does it, or an elderly man.
For those of you women who don't like being called any pet names like that, do not go to Australia, because everyone is darling, honey, hun, babe, everything.
Yeah.
Babe. Hey, babe.
Or if it's not babe, it's cunt.
Yeah.
Oh, you're doing, you cunt.
That is what they say over there. And it's not like a curse word there.
No.
I mean, it kind of is, but it's like us saying like jerk, bitch.
Sure. Sure.
Something like that. It's like
when girls say batch to each other, like, yeah, batch.
Yeah, like, yeah, bitch.
Yeah, bitch.
Yeah, like, we are, like, literally the same people.
I was so worried when we were going to do a podcast that you might have, like, a vocal fry.
Oh, my gosh. I hate the vocal fry so much.
It's tough. It can be tough.
It's really, really bad. Like,
yeah.
when it gets stuck, like, here, like...
Can we talk about, what did you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about pregnant men or Elon first?
Oh, Elon Musk is buying Twitter. The offer was accepted. It's official.
Oh, wait, it was accepted.
It was accepted, which obviously means that we're moving into World War III.
Yeah, guys, here's what's going to happen, okay? Mm-hmm. Really nothing. Nothing new, I think, is going to happen.
This was actually my opinion, too. It's something that Mike and I agree on. People are like, what do you think is going to happen to Twitter? My opinion is nothing. I don't think anything's going to change. You might have some people reinstate, like Babylon Bee may be reinstated.
Alex Jones might get a Twitter account back. Donald Trump might get one back.
But after that, I don't think we'll see much changes in terms of censorship or... what's the other thing with censorship? Fact checking. We're not going to see any difference on fact checking or censorship. Mm-hmm. I don't think so. I just don't think that. I just don't think it's going to happen. I would like Elon to prove me wrong. Elon, come on the show and prove me wrong. But
the most common talking point among conservatives was like, "Oh, this was the moment that liberals, leftists were saying, oh, I'm going to move to Canada if Donald Trump is elected in 2016," and then nothing happens.
Nothing happens.
Yeah. So
here's a tweet that just came up that I think is very, very funny because my Twitter homepage just gives you like suggested tweets that people I follow respond to, and this guy is having a meltdown. Get ready for an unprecedented flood of anti-vax content on this platform. People are completely melting down over this, and it's truly entertaining to see. Cool. Yeah.
Shouldn't there be more anti-vax content so you can see everything and then kind of form your own opinion on it?
Decide for yourself. Tim Young responds and says, "Lol, good."
Good. Yeah, exactly. That would have been my response to it.
Oh man, but yeah, I mean, I guess there's really not much more to say about Elon Musk taking over Twitter, except that the dude's got $43 billion to just toss out.
We'll see. It'll obviously up the shares of Twitter.
Yeah, I think even just this morning before the offer was accepted, shares went up 3%.
Should have bought some.
And that was,
It doesn't really matter unless you're buying at least $1,000 of, at least 1,000 shares of something.
Yeah.
Or, spending at minimum $1,000 on these things. So it's like, oh, I should have bought shares. How much were you going to spend? $250. Wasn't really going to impact you that much.
Yeah.
Yeah. You might walk away with $300, but yeah, I don't think so.
So do you want to talk about pregnant dudes?
I want to talk about pregnant dudes only because, see, this is where conservatives get things wrong, okay? Because they do the same thing that liberals do. So the reason why I thought about this was because Patton Oswalt recently put out the headline of an article that said, staffing shortages on airlines, because of the dropping of the mask mandate. He was like, see, who would have thought this would have happened? Where that article was written like weeks before that even happened. And not only that, if you read the article, it wasn't due to people getting sick on planes. It was due to rising COVID cases across Europe. So it had nothing to do with the American mask mandate being dropped. So it's just like people react to headlines of things and they don't really sit down, digest something, and then think about it. Which is when this show on Netflix came out called He's Expecting, which if you look at the cover of it is a dude with a pregnant belly. I'll put it up wherever, right there. Yeah, and it's a Japanese show. It's based on a manga, so it's not based in any sort of reality. Someone asked me, Josh Lacash was like, is it a documentary? And I was like, no, it's not. It's just a fantasy story. But a lot of conservatives were reacting like, oh, see, this is why Netflix shares are dropping. This is why their subscribers are dropping. It's too much woke shit. Where if you actually sit down, I had to watch the series. I was like, let me check this out. And I told you to, and you're how many episodes?
I watched 2 episodes.
Okay. We watched the whole thing in the span of 2 days. It's only 8 episodes. They're 30 minutes each. It's an incredibly pro-pregnancy, pro-life series when you get down to it. And if people didn't react to things right away and watched it, digested it, thought about it, they would leave watching the series going, wow, that actually made me think about how important the writers, the creators of this show put on women being pregnant. Because the idea of the show, the plot line of the show is basically that it's a very rare thing, and they say cis males a lot, so they use woke language. There's a guy who works in an advertising agency, and in Japan and in the world, there's this rare thing that is happening where cis men can get pregnant. And it's not trans men or anything, it's men are able to get pregnant and give birth. I don't know how that happens. They never really...
It's a fantasy, guys.
They never go into the science of it, but it's like it's not really sci-fi, but it's fantasy.
But it is, yeah.
So this one guy who works at an advertising campaign who they are poking fun of woke culture because they get like a company like Uniqlo, but they call it something else. Where
Unive or something.
Yeah, Unive, where they go out to this ad company that he works for, and there's like, we need something new, and he's like, why don't we get a bunch of people who aren't necessarily front and center in fashion, like people with missing limbs and fat people and gay people. And the clothing company eats it up. Like, yeah, we want inclusivity. So then this guy gets pregnant. He's not monogamously dating one person. He has kind of a hookup with this girl, gets pregnant, and he has the idea of like, oh, let's put me into this ad campaign as a man who's pregnant because, again, this is a very rare thing that happens to men in this sort of world, and they jump at the opportunity to put, him front and center in this campaign. So it's kind of making fun of the woke fashion industry, basically saying like, let's give people let's give inclusivity to people who aren't normally recognized, and let's put someone in a wheelchair. Right. It's let's put wheelchair people in our Nike ads or something like that. Yeah. So they're kind of poking fun at that. Which is
really condescending if you think about it.
Right. Yeah. But it's also saying like how ridiculous has it become where they're chomping at the bit to put a pregnant man like in their campaign.
Right.
But it's kind of different only because this is a world where pregnant men are actually a thing.
Yeah.
So it's not trans men, it's like pregnant men.
So this the whole point is that there's nothing trans about this show.
No.
Not at all. And so conservatives saw the poster and it was trending for everyone that I follow was, this is why, just like you said, this is why Netflix is going broke. And this is why there's a mass exodus from platforms like Netflix. And I'm like, bruh, it's not even a trans story. It's not even a trans story. Like, look, I will meet you there and say that, yeah, obviously Netflix and many other streaming services are creating a lot of
they have woke agendas,
radical content. And we've been watching that happen for a long time. But this wasn't it. I mean, Japan's culture is not woke.
No.
It's not. Like, it's not like this is some Japanese show where they're talking about a trans guy that can get pregnant. Like, it really is a fantasy sci-fi. And this is why we talk about this all the time. Conservatives tend to miss culture and art a lot. I'm not saying that this show is like some fantastic, incredible piece of art that needs to be propped up, but at the end of the day, I mean, film and TV like this, it's a form of art. It's part of arts in the culture. And I think conservatives really miss the mark, and they don't understand that, sometimes you're going to have stories, movies, TV shows, or whatever that come from a fantasy sci-fi place because it's used as a way to give commentary on pregnancy, working mothers.
Yes, exactly.
If you actually, I'm only 2 episodes in.
The guy takes the place of a working mother, basically.
Exactly.
That's kind of like the premise of this show.
Yeah, and so it's like, it's actually, from what I saw, I mean, I didn't like this. I don't think I'll continue watching it, but I watched a couple episodes just to have this discussion. And what I can tell you, even though it's not a show that I loved or would highly recommend, I can tell you that it is a commentary on what happens to women who are very dedicated to their work and they get pregnant. It's a commentary on what has to happen. It's a commentary on the sacrifices you have to make. And so I think that's something that conservatives are like totally missing out on.
And I mean, since you're not going to watch any more episodes, spoiler for anyone who doesn't want the show ruined, but I wrote some notes about this show.
Oh.
So he says...
Wait, my biggest question is how do they get that baby out? C-section?
Yes, C-section.
Okay.
They can only be delivered by C-section.
Okay, obviously, because it's not going to come out of your butthole or your...
So he says a kid would get in the way of doing important work. That's something that he says, that's what a lot of working women would say, right? A lot of working women would say that.
Moms say.
So I said he's an ad exec who pitched a woke campaign for a major retailer, working women who is... Oh, and I think the girl that he got impregnated by, I think working woman who is... Oh, no. So... The woman who impregnated this man met another woman at a party. She was this 40-year-old woman who realized time was running out and wanted to have a baby. Because she was like, "Oh, you have a baby, but you're so involved in your work." And she was like, "I'm pushing 40. Like, time is dwindling down."
I think I saw that part.
Yeah,
that was in the first 2 episodes. Yeah.
So the man initially sees the pregnancy as a burden, and his partner, who's never really thought about having kids, is starting to think that it could be good. So I don't know if you got to that part, but the woman is actually like, "This could be good. Like, we probably should have a baby." So in the show, an abortion done after 12 weeks is considered a stillbirth and has to be buried. I looked this up. Japan doesn't really have a law like this. it's in the show. In actuality, abortion is legal up to 21 weeks and banned after in Japan. But the show makes it a point to say, if you have an abortion after 12 weeks, we treat it as a stillbirth and you have to bury it, which I think probably might change a lot of people's minds because they recognize it as a life, which it is.
Yeah, but still.
His mother is against the pregnancy, the main character's mother.
Oh, the mom wants the baby to die?
Mm-hmm. And I wrote notes while I was watching, like, are they making fun of woke inclusive campaigns? The single parent character always wants a family. So you have to understand this because he didn't have a father.
Okay.
And he comes to the realization. He says the words, no pregnancy is without risk. Like, the doctor says that, which is really, really interesting.
Okay.
The couple has the baby out of wedlock, but wants to solidify the relationship for the child's sake.
Okay.
Which is really cool. And I think, these are just messy notes because it was really late while we're watching this, but the point of the show is to not trivialize having a child, doesn't trivialize pregnancy. It makes these things important things that people have to deal with and people have to contemplate before getting into. Because the initial thing is like, oh, this baby's going to wreck my career. Right. And the guy goes to get an abortion. He signs up for it, everything. Yeah. And then something makes him not do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's really important. And that clearly has a conservative undertone to it.
Yeah, it does. And that's what's so ironic is that like a lot of the themes of the show, most conservatives would agree with. But another bone I have to pick with this show and most other shows and movies that are about pregnancy is that they make pregnancy sound and look incredibly difficult and gross and uncomfortable.
Yeah, like when his nipples started, like
he was,
Carly
like,
was just like, that doesn't happen.
Yeah. And like the constant puking. Look, I do know women who
there are people who have bad morning sickness.
Puked every day. Like I had a friend of mine, she just had her second baby, puked. I'm not saying this hyperbolically, literally every day of her pregnancy.
For the first trimester, or every day?
For the entire pregnancy. Yeah,
that's too much.
She says, I'm not joking. I puked every day. So yes, there are cases like that, but for the most part, I just really don't like it how the media and entertainment will paint pregnancy to be this incredibly uncomfortable and a thing that happens to your body that makes everything else impossible to do.
Yeah.
Because it's like, guys, look, if you're a young woman listening, you're wondering what pregnancy is going to be like, you can do the things. You can do all the things in your life that you usually do when you're pregnant. Yeah, sure, the last month, things are going to be a lot different because you're very large and you got a lot of belly and a lot of baby in you. But I just hate this whole narrative that like pregnancy makes you puke all the time, makes you super sick, and makes you feel awful every single day. I just don't like that because I think it paints the wrong picture. Most women I know who've been pregnant had either a fine pregnancy or a lovely pregnancy.
Everybody's different.
I'm sure there are some moms watching you had a miserable pregnancy. I'm not saying that didn't happen or that's not true. It's just, what I'm saying is I don't like that the general conversation around pregnancy and entertainment and media makes it to be this horrible experience.
Yeah.
Because in the second episode, I think the mom of the baby was talking to her friend and the friend was saying how pregnancy's awful. But at the very end, she goes, but no matter who has a baby, you have to realize that that's a miracle of life.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And so that's why, like, I totally get what you're saying. Again, I didn't really like the show, but I get what you're saying to the point of conservatives will often just look at something and they'll make the same mistake that libs do and they'll just make huge assumptions about what it is and they'll immediately tie it back to their own political views without actually looking and being like, what is this thing?
I think you should watch the show. I think you should take an episode or two, give it a watch, and then see how you feel. Come back to this episode and comment.
I will say this, there's nothing woke about it. Like Mike says, they poke fun.
I think they are. I think they're legitimately
at the woke
poking
agenda.
Fun at it.
Yeah, there's really nothing. There's nothing trans about it. So you won't even hear anything about trans as far as I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So listen, before we get to questions, apparently you have a letter to read to me.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So I
don't know anything about this. All that I know is there's a letter you need to read for me from somebody.
It's not a letter. Well, I got a message from a friend of the show named Mr. John Doyle.
Yeah.
And he texted me this, and he said, what he texted me was, Mike be like, arrest the mom.
Yeah.
And what he texted me was this tweet. I'm going to read it to you.
Yeah. I haven't seen this, by the way, so I don't know what's going on.
1-year-old Ruby is in the hospital this morning after being attacked by her family's pit bulls. Her mom stabbed the dogs to save her. CBS LA.
Okay.
And so John said, Mike be like, arrest the mom.
Well, again, like this is okay. So this sort of
John.
like, yeah, sure, funny. But here,
because Mike's a Pitbull apologist.
Yeah, 100%. I'll go to my grave as a Pitbull apologist.
I responded to John and I said, quotation, what was she wearing?
True. Oh, no, not the baby. Listen,
look, all aside, it's not funny.
I don't like it when babies get mauled by dogs. It happens every day. But the media, again, will like to bring up when Pitbulls do it just because they have an agenda. Here's the thing, and I've said this before, and I'm going to go into a little bit more in-depth about it. We don't know if the dog or dogs that were involved in this were adopted, if they were, bred from fighting dogs, or if they got them as puppies. Like, we don't know. We don't know the familial history of these dogs. Should you adopt a dog from a kennel who's 2 to 3 years old and you really don't know the background of the dog? Any dog, probably not, because they might have behavioral issues. I mean, Adriano knows that most kennels will do behavioral tests to see if dogs are aggressive or if they're, able to live with a family with kids. And most of the time, if they're too aggressive, they'll put these dogs down. Now, some might slip through the cracks. Other dogs that if you get from, some dude on Craigslist who's breeding them, you don't know the bloodline of these dogs. You don't know if they came from a bait dog. You don't know if they came from an actual fighting dog. So, of course, they're going to breed and have these genetic issues that are inbred into these dogs that make them aggressive. So, I mean, how many kids die from Pitbull attacks? I think over the last 12 years, I think it's been something like 10 to 20 of them. And the people who die the most are elderly people and young kids. Now, with the young kids, some of them have been because of negligence. There's no parent in the room watching the kid with the dog. They just think, Pitbulls are good family dogs. I'm just going to leave my kid alone. Probably don't leave your kid alone with the dog. Also, I mean, I want to know how many kids are killed by their own parents every year from negligence, from domestic abuse, starvation. Like, this is what they do. They bring up, this is like the case of abortion for rape and incest. You bring up the most minute cases, most rare cases to try and make your point, okay? Like, kids aren't being mauled to death by Pitbulls every day. It's just not happening. Sorry to break it to you, John. Sorry to break it to you, Fleckus and Elijah. Maybe dress your other dogs better so that they're not asking for it.
Thank you, Mr. Doyle.
I'm just sorry. It's just like one of these things where I know they're almost trolling me in a way to get this reaction out of me, but it's not based in reality. The fact of the matter is Pitbulls are not killing kids every day. They're not killing kids every week. They're not killing kids every month. These things are rare. It'll give you the statistics, but it doesn't tell you the length of these studies and the number of years involved.
In 2019, there were 33 Pitbull fatalities.
Okay. Now, from those fatalities, what were the age range of these people?
I don't know.
So in 2019, 33?
Yeah.
Okay, so what is that, like 2.5 per month?
It's a lot, Mike.
Yeah. How many kids now are killed by their parents due to negligence?
How many kids die due to negligence each year? It's estimated that 1,840 kids died. That's not a comparable statistic.
Why not?
Why not? Because there's not a pit bull in every house. There's a lot more kids who live with parents than there are kids who live with pit bulls.
Yeah, that doesn't matter though, because there are plenty of more aggressive dogs who live in homes with children. But the media doesn't report that because the media has an agenda against pit bulls. I want to know how many kids die from German Shepherds. How many kids dies from chows? Like, it's not just pit bulls that are killing kids. You only hear about it. I'm telling you,
I just think it's best to keep your kids away from pit bulls. And I'm like a massive animal lover.
Keep your kids away from dogs you don't know.
But that was a dog that she knew. It was the family dog for the family dogs.
But do they tell you how long that they've had the dogs? First of all, they had 2 pit bulls. Did they have them as puppies? Did the article tell you that?
Yeah, but even if they didn't,
Adriano, you gotta help me out here. Because Adriano knows.
He says I'm the producer. Sorry, he doesn't want to get involved. I mean, let's do questions. Actually, comment and explain what you guys think about pit bulls and children.
I mean, listen, pit bulls are an aggressive breed. We know that. They are bred specifically for that. And I think as time goes on, they're not going to be fighting dogs for the most part anymore, so that you can breed that out of the pit bulls.
My dog would never attack my daughter. But she's not a pit bull, so what am I saying? People think she is, as I've said before.
I've had two, and I had one dog. This is the one that obviously bit the other pedophilic dog. But he was aggressive, but we knew we didn't bring him to dog runs or anything like that. And he loved small dogs. He was aggressive towards bigger dogs because he was a bait dog. So we understood this. So bigger dogs freaked him out, and he would get aggressive around them. So the first maybe one or two times where he was a little bit aggressive at a dog park, we're like, okay, we're not doing dog parks anymore. He loves people that come into the house. He's great. He's really affectionate.
Is this the one that got cancer?
Yeah, he got cancer. John will love this, but he got hit by a car and had to have one of his legs amputated while I had him because he got out of the yard. So then we had him for years after that, developed cancer.
That's going to make John very happy.
And then I had another pit bull who was a pit bull mix. Her name was Eula. She was what they called a mini pit because I think she was under 25 pounds. But she was still,
mini pit?
Yeah, she was
like
kind of pig. Like, she was skinny but muscular, but you could tell she was a pit.
Right.
She was the runt of her little litter. She was a great dog, never aggressive towards anybody. But I had gotten her as a puppy. I think I got her 3 months old from a breeder who, wasn't breeding aggressive dogs at all. So you're probably not going to. My
husband wants to get a pit bull.
Yeah, he wants one.
Yeah, but
favorite breed, he says. You guys will have something to talk about in the car.
No, his favorite breed is whatever our dog is.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my feelings about pit bulls.
Let's get into some questions.
Okay. What part of Atlanta did Gina live in? I grew up in Smyrna. A man with many hats wants to know.
I went to Emory University for college, and I lived in Decatur for a little while, and then I lived in Buckhead for a little bit too.
Oh wait, let's go back. Hey, 30-second ad read. With all that's happening in the world right now, it's no wonder you're worried. Nobody knows what's going to happen, and that's why you need the certainty of gold and silver in your investments. Precious metals will keep you safe from inflation and financial turmoil. And this month, for every qualified IRA, you'll get an incredible 3-ounce silver American Virtue coin, completely free as a thank you. You know what to do. Call 877-646-5347 now to find out more. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com. And we're back. Because I'm going to cut those. Okay. Rightwing.lifting wants to know, for Gina, have you ever looked into Catholicism?
I have a little bit, yeah. I have. There's honestly, I have yet to be really drawn to it or called to it. I do very much take issue with, I still have yet to hear a good enough answer about why they think that the Catholic Church is the one true church. I still have yet to hear a good answer to that. But I'll say this, guys. I'm open. I am very open. I'm very open to wherever God calls me to in terms of, I guess, the denominations of Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I of course believe very much that Jesus came as the Son of God and lived a perfect life and sacrificed his life in the most brutal death in history, which crucifixion was in general, for our sins. But I am open. I have yet to hear an answer, though, about why the Catholic Church that is led by the Pope is the one true church.
Well, you might, because we're trying to do.
Yeah, I would love that. What we're trying to do.
What we're trying to do is get Michael Knowles on the show with Pastor Michael Easley and Jay Dyer. Because Jay Dyer will represent the Orthodoxy point of view. Pastor Michael will represent the Protestant point of view, and then Michael Knowles would represent the Catholic.
I mean, if Michael,
that would be a really good conversation.
If Michael feels up to it, I'm sure he knows enough about Catholicism. I mean, another thing that I still can't really understand, and I'm open. I don't understand why the sacraments, if the sacraments aren't in the Bible, mm-hmm. why is there so much emphasis placed on the sacraments? For example, confession,
communion, all that kind of stuff.
Things like that.
Yeah.
I still have yet to hear a good answer about why we are meant to confess our sins to a priest.
Yeah.
Because I know that scripture that says, confess your sins to one another and then, go enjoy or something like that. But there's nothing about confessing them to. Well,
there's some good old Catholic boys who are in the comments, so maybe they can respond to that.
Maybe they can. Yeah. Like I said, guys, I'm open to it. I have yet to feel called by God to, we actually went to a Catholic church for a while in DC. And it was a more conservative one. And, I actually also went to some Catholic Bible studies and I enjoyed them. I really enjoyed the time that I spent with one of the priests in DC. But I also really just don't understand why so many Catholics and so many Catholic churches are extremely liberal. It's not even like some of them. It's like statistically, the majority of Catholics and Catholic churches are very liberal. And I really
I
wonder
still don't
why.
understand that.
I don't understand why. And if it's, for me, I guess my one question I have is, if it's the one true church, why is it so liberal?
Yeah.
And why is it so pro-abortion? And so those are some big questions I have.
Do you want me to read that one on air?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gina, can you talk about your decision to leave Candace after moving to Nash for that job?
I've been getting a lot of questions this past week about
R.R. Grove.
I think R.R. Grove.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people missed the announcement I made last year when I said I was leaving my job. So I quit at the end of December of last year because I wanted to focus on motherhood.
Here she is on a podcast. Where's your baby?
I know. Gosh, how dare you be away from your child for an hour?
Yeah.
It was at a point where I had to go back to work 7 weeks. My daughter was 7 weeks old, which moms out there, you know how young that is. I went back, and then on the second day, I was like, I can't do it anymore. So I went in and I asked for a work from home policy. And the answer was no, but we'll give you 3 months to work from home. And so they extended, it was a generous offer. They extended a 3-month work policy that would have ended at the end of March, right? So from January to March, I would have worked at home. And I said, okay. And then 2 days into that, I spent 2 days at home with my child, and I was like, I just know that come April, I'm not going to be ready to go back into the office. Like, I'm sorry, but, if it sounds judgmental, I don't mean to judge women's choices, but you should not be leaving. That sounds so, I'm not going to judge you, but you should not be leaving. But for me, I just could not imagine leaving my infant at home for 8 hours a day, even if she's 4 or 5 months old.
Right.
I just, especially
even with your mom,
even with my mom, like I want to exclusively breastfeed my daughter. I want to be there with my daughter as many seconds of the day as I can.
These early years are very important.
They are. And I did an AMA on my Instagram today, and somebody asked me, what were some parenting books you read? I only read one parenting book. It was called Being There. I highly recommend it, by Erica Kosmar or something. And that book changed my life. That book actually was the inspiration for me to totally quit my job, because it is incredibly important for biological mothers to be with their child between the ages of 0 to 3. And I would often argue even beyond that. But it's especially important to be there for the first 3 years of the child's life. So even though I knew that I had this work from home policy for 3 months, I went in a couple days later and I said, I really appreciate the offer. I said, but I am not at a point where I can leave my daughter in March or April, and you deserve somebody that can give you 110% of this job. Because, they needed somebody. In the first year of my job, I was able to do a lot of work from home stuff because it was just me. Like, I was Candace's only employee. And so it was a very small team, and I just, would go over to their house whenever they needed me and things like that. But then as she got bigger and busier, it was, of course, the job required a lot more. And so when that point came and I realized I didn't want to leave my daughter in April, I just said to them, I said, I really appreciate this offer, but I can't give you what you need right now. And so it was a very amicable parting of ways. And it was really hard, guys. It was very hard for me because I loved my job. Candace is Candace. And I was her very first employee. I was her very first full-time hire for Blexit. Yeah. So I've been with her through a lot of different moments of her career. And it kind of felt like I had to shed a really big part of my identity. And I had this massive insecurity, this massive fear of, well, I'm going to be a total nobody if I'm not Candace's manager anymore. You know, you have these fears when you make massive decisions like that. But it turned out to be the best decision of my life. Now I get to be with my daughter every single day, and I get to breastfeed her from the breast pretty much exclusively. The only time we give her a bottle is when I have to come here and do the show once or twice a week. And so it was the best decision ever. But it was hard. But I think a lot of people think that there was drama. I'm getting a lot of questions.
Yeah, I know you. There was no drama.
They're like, why did you leave? Why did you? And I'm like, it really was because I wanted to
plot twist. Gina's a commie. Candace found that out.
Yeah.
Fired her on the spot.
Yeah. I leaked important information to the New York Times.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So
Sydney,
that's that.
Sydney Biddle wants to know, talk about what makes someone a rhino. That's easy. Those are little examples. I'm a Republican, but I don't think everyone should own a machine gun, or I'm a Republican, but there are some issues about abortion that I would lean more pro-choice towards. Yeah, I'm a Republican, but we're gonna put some new taxes onto these. Yeah, those are rhinos.
Yeah, I'm a Republican, but I do think that we should shut down businesses temporarily for a virus that has a 99.99% survival rate.
Exactly.
Yeah, things like that. It's like rhino and name only. It basically means somebody who claims to be I'm going to say conservative, even though it's Republican in name, but someone who claims to be conservative and then doesn't actually. Yeah,
conservatives aren't values. By definition Republicans either. Like Republicans are really this different thing. I mean, Republicans are just they come out of the whole two-party system, which is very weird. Anyway, Steven Zimmer 01 wants to know, who's the first person you voted for and why? Do you remember?
I voted for Trump in 2020.
Really? That's the first time you voted?
First time I ever voted.
I voted for the first time in 2004 during the Bush and Kerry election. Can you look up Libertarian candidate in 2004 for president? I think it's the same guy who's been running out of maybe New Mexico. Gary Nolan? Gary Nolan, maybe. I think that's who I voted for. Yeah. So in 2004, that was the... Yeah. I didn't want to vote for Bush. I obviously wasn't voting for Kerry, because even at the time, I was still somewhat conservative. And for a lot of that time, especially maybe up to 2016, I consider myself a libertarian. So 2008, didn't vote for John McCain, couldn't stand John McCain, voted libertarian. Didn't want to vote for Mitt Romney, voted libertarian. So 2016, I didn't vote because I was living in LA and didn't update my out of state or whatever. So 2020 was the first time that I voted Republican, really, for Trump.
Yeah, I mean, I was never really into politics at all, even though I was a raging lib who was an intersectional feminist. I was once that. Yeah. I had half of my head. I dyed my hair blue once. Anyway, I was just never into politics. I remember Obama, it was 2008 that Obama got elected. I was in my second year of college, and the whole campus was going wild talking about voting for Obama and how excited they were. And I just remember being like, cool, first black president. And in my head, I
did that too.
In my head, I'm like, I still don't see any good reason to vote for him. And so I like lied to my friends. I was like, yeah, I voted, but I didn't.
I have so much respect for people who are just like, yeah, I didn't vote because I don't know. I don't know. People who are like, yeah, I don't vote, whatever, dude. Like that, I'm like, okay, I have a little contempt for those people. But the people who are like, I don't know.
I didn't know enough.
I didn't vote.
Yeah, I did not know enough before 2020 to vote, so I didn't vote.
Also, someone had asked during my AMA, like, what should we do? Should we raise the voting age to 25? I was like, 25 is a good start. Credit check. I was like, actually do a credit check, because if you're thousands of dollars in debt, you probably shouldn't have any sort of say in what our fiscal policy should be.
I don't know. I disagree a little bit about that, because I think the credit score, while it can...
Depends on what kind of debt.
Well, it can be good, but like somebody could launch all of their money into a business and like really be in debt because they put a ton of money into a business.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, what kind of debt is it? Is it a mortgage? That's different debt than... But yeah, if you have $100,000 in credit card debts that aren't related to any sort of business you've started, then... You might be irresponsible, and you probably shouldn't.
I just think that 90% of people who are voting should not be voting.
Love Callie. At what age do you plan to allow your children to have a phone / be on social media?
That's a good question. And my answer is I don't know.
I don't know.
Our daughters are way too young. Yeah. I just like, I know that, when she's reaching 10, then I'll really think about it, and we'll just talk to my husband about it and pray about it.
To keep in touch with her, if anything, like a phone.
Right.
But
also, like in 15 years, things are going to be very different. Who knows what things are going to be like.
What I'm worried about right now is that there are things that calm her down, and she's starting to pick up the phone and watch. So I'm not saying that she's going to be the kid who's walking through Kmart with the phone, walking around.
You go to Kmart?
No, I'm just saying that's an example. I don't even know where their Kmart is out here. But like, I would definitely give her a phone on a plane. If she was having a thing and the phone calmed her down on the plane, 100%, I'd give her, her little... a tablet. We don't have a tablet for. Biblical Chad wants to know, Mike, when are you going to start lifting seriously? Definitely need a calorie surplus and compound lifts. Good news, freaking Biblical Chad. I'm going to start this very soon. I'm moving to where a place... Nashville is very weird, especially in the city. There aren't a lot of garages and driveways. It's a lot of on the street and in the backyard alley parking. But I'm moving to a place next month. Going to have a garage. I'm going to put a treadmill in there. My buddy, who is currently in 5th Special Forces Group, not going to say his name, but I like shouting out my Special Forces buddies just because they make me feel more manly to at least be associated with them. He also just had a baby. Thank you. But he's like, dude, I got some plates and some dumbbells that you can have.
Good.
And he was just like, you might find it uncomfortable, but you're going to have to eat a lot more than
you're going to have to eat a lot. dude.
Yeah. He's like, chocolate milk. I don't know how I'm like, my tummy is good with dairy, but he's like, chocolate milk.
You're just gonna eat a lot of good stuff.
Carly's behind it too. She's like, you really have to give up bread. She's like, you have no idea.
Bread is death.
You have to give up bread.
For those of you who don't know, I'll just talk about it very briefly because there's a lot of questions when I talk about bread is death. But grains, bread, they cause brain atrophy.
Yeah.
And so that's why there's a lot of, I even hate to say there's a lot of studies, but there are showing the connection between early onset Alzheimer's from a lot of grain consumption, a lot of bread consumption. The way that my chiropractor says it, he says, dude, bread is death.
Have you seen the chiropractic comments that we've got?
No.
Oh, in Emily's episode?
Really?
Some dude went in on chiropractors. They're not even real doctors. Why would you ever want your chiropractor to come and like line you up during your pregnancy?
Yeah, so this people like that, I'm so sorry, but it's like, it's...
I went in on him. I was like, where's the data of all the chiropractors hurting children?
Look, we're going to have a guest on this weekend on Saturday. She's a chiropractor. She's a functional medicine doctor. She will explain to you why.
Get your questions ready.
Why the propaganda of quackery, chiropractor work being quackery, where it came from, because the American Medical Association tried to kick chiropractors out of the official doctor group, whatever, the association, because they coined the term quacks. And you know why chiropractors get such a bad rap? Take a guess why.
They don't prescribe anything.
Because they don't prescribe any medication. And so they do nothing for big pharma. So you have dum-dums like that who have been swallowing, who have been filleting the state and taking in all the propaganda about why chiropractors...
Filleting the state, I love that.
About how chiropractors are total quacks and they don't do anything for you. Oh, you got to go every week. You're an idiot. You go to the gym once a year?
Well, I asked him, I said,
do you eat protein once a month?
I said, where's the data on chiropractors harming people? And he was like, you don't understand, the chiropractors lobby is such a... I was like, wait a minute. You're telling me the American medical machine and the pharmaceutical industry isn't able to study chiropractic medicine because of the lobby that chiropractors have?
Yeah, what is that? Yeah, no.
I was like, I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so. If they're so harmful, there would of course be plenty of studies, and like you said, you know, the quackery of chiropractors, which I don't get.
You would have numbers of people having massive injuries or numbers of people dying from going to the chiropractor. Yeah. Look, and I really stick up for chiropractors because I've had a few chiropractors in my life who have done way more for my health than any medical doctor has ever done, and most of them. They really study like alternative forms of medicine.
Yeah.
And a lot of chiropractors are very like anti-mainstream medicine because mainstream medicine is just shoving a pill down your throat and making big pharma happy.
So Red.mess has two questions. The first one I don't like as much, but what advice do you have for someone who wants to be an influencer in the conservative space? There are reasons why I don't like that question. It's just because I don't like the word influencer or even conservative space. I just think if you think you have interesting things to say, get those things out there, and you know, if people like them, then they like them. I don't know if there's like...
I guess what would be my advice? I mean, I guess a good piece of advice would be find a niche. Find a niche, right?
A niche.
So a niche,
whatever.
Niche. Is it niche? Yeah, find a niche, a niche.
This one's for you. From Red Mess again. I'm starting my weight loss journey. I want to lose 30 pounds. What should I do and not do?
Good for you. First of all, I want to commend anyone who has a significant weight loss goal and makes a decision to start. And this sounds so cheesy and self-help, but starting is the hardest part. The next 6 weeks of your life are going to be very difficult if you really buckle down. So here are a couple pieces of advice. Number one, it always starts with a diet. When people think about weight loss, they think that they have to work out a lot, they have to go for a run, they have to do all these extravagant things when it comes to fitness. Your diet makes up about 80%, if not more, of your weight loss efforts. It's all about what you eat. It's all about what you put into your body. So this is also going to sound very strange. One of the biggest mistakes that women make when they are trying to lose weight is they undereat. They don't eat enough food because they think that consuming 1,000 calories or 800 calories of nothing or fasting half the day is going to help them lose the weight faster. That's not how it works. A lot of my clients, I would say 80% of my clients who come to me, I actually have to force them to eat more food in the first several weeks of our program because they're so not used to eating food. And so what happens is when you don't give your metabolism anything to do, your metabolism either doesn't work or it down regulates. So I would say the first thing that you have to do with your diet is let's look at how much protein you're eating. A general rule of thumb is take your weight in pounds, your body weight in pounds, and either multiply it by 1 or multiply it by 0.8. And that's the number of grams that you need to eat of protein every day. So, for example, if you weigh 130 pounds, you can eat 130 grams of protein a day, or multiply that by 0.8, whatever that is. I can do that right now. And then that would come out to 104 grams of protein a day. You know, so if you're someone who's just starting out, you can use a 0.8 number. This is for women, by the way. I'm assuming that's a woman who asked.
Red Mess is a woman. And I mean, can she reach out to you directly to do that?
Yeah, she can absolutely reach out to me. And then you start with the protein, right? So then obviously from there, you have to be eating high quality protein. We're talking about nutrient dense foods, whole foods. Eat out less. Eat out way less. I would maximum eat out once a week. You need to be cooking, making your own food, realizing what you're putting into your body, get rid of seed oils, get rid of any processed or packaged foods, and really prioritize high quality animal products, red meat, fish, chicken, eggs. If you do raw dairy, if you have access to raw dairy, that's really great too. Lots of fruit. Vegetables are, you know, that's a hot topic.
Yeah, Carly was like, this is absolutely, she, because I was like, aren't vegetables bad? And she's like, listen, you know, people have been eating vegetables for how many fucking years? Like, are people dropping dead because they're eating all these fucking vegetables?
Yeah, but there's a lot to it. I think that there's definitely
there probably are vegetables that are a waste
about
you know what I mean?
About the way that we farm now.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, definitely.
And I also think if we want to ask how our ancestors actually ate, they didn't eat many vegetables.
Right.
Our ancestors really didn't.
They probably did eat vegetables though. They probably did have some greens in there somewhere.
If they had like, well, what about cavemen?
Right.
You know what I mean?
They're not doing that.
So that's why there's a lot of debate about whether vegetables are useful. But I mean, look, I think there's nothing wrong with having high quality vegetables that are obviously, I don't even say organic because organic is a scam, but like locally raised and not a lot of pesticides used on them. But so then coming back to what this girl's question was, eat a nutrient dense whole foods diet, cook a lot. The unsung hero of weight loss is sleep. So if you're a mom of young children, I'm so sorry. But if you can get 8 hours of high quality sleep a night, that's going to speed up the whole weight loss process a lot faster. I mean, there's a lot more. You can DM me. I also have a private fitness group.
Yeah,
I've never plugged it here before, but
do it.
Go to myhealthshift.com, or you can just go to my Instagram bio and the link is in there. It's a private group for like, I think just $7 or $8 a month. And I do a live workout every Monday. I do a live stream on nutrition and lifestyle every Wednesday. And then I'm posting recipes, and it's just a really great place to hold each other accountable. So join the group.
Okay. 1-800 Jar Bear wants to tell us to get Milo on to talk about Catholicism and modern art. Emails have been sent out.
I actually haven't texted him yet.
Oh, you got to do that.
I'll text him.
Text message incoming.
Our friend gave us the number.
Yeah, he did.
We would love to have Milo on. Absolutely.
This was a question that intrigued me. Red pill _ conservatism. Do you think the 90s are revered because there was a cultural shift back to tradition? And I thought about that. I don't know what shift you're specifically talking about because, you know, gangsta rap prevalent in the 90s.
Will and Grace,
grunge music, yeah, the sort of
the rise of Ellen DeGeneres,
the starting rise of
that's where the gay movement really picked up.
Yeah, I think so. So I don't know where the shift back to tradition happened.
I don't think there was a shift back to tradition, but I do think that the 90s was the last decade where there was still a strong emphasis on family traditions.
I'd agree with that.
If you like think about like Full House,
yeah,
even Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah, or just roles that are obviously understood. And that makes sense.
Yeah.
That are biological.
And I think that was the last decade
Sure.
where these family values were still preserved. And again, even though we talked about how this was really the rise of gay culture becoming mainstream, it was still, I guess, kind of on the fringe.
Yeah, it sucks because the question boxes, I guess, don't let you go too in depth in the question, so they have to be kind of general and kind of vague.
Right.
But yeah, Red Pill, send us a DM and I kind of get into the I was gonna say a word.
The meat of it.
The meat of it, yeah. I guess Deutscher 233. How is El Salvador overall today? I haven't been back recently. The last time I was there was 2013, but before that, maybe 10 years earlier than that. About that. I was there for a month. I stayed in my mom's old town. And that, I mean, listen, El Salvador is really eye-opening when you come back to the States and you see what you got here. I hear they have a pretty base president.
I've heard that.
Yeah. during COVID, it was, it was Z-Packs and vitamin C and vitamin D sent to your house. If you got a positive COVID, result, they sent that stuff to your house for free.
Amazing.
Vaccines weren't really pushed on people. I think the president introduced Bitcoin as an actual currency. Like you can use Bitcoin in retail spaces. Yeah. So El Salvador is going to be a really tough thing to fix and clean up just because, MS-13 is still a big problem there as it is here. So the people who are being deported back there, they now have to deal with, with more MS sort of stuff. So El Salvador can be beautiful. There are certain parts of it that are great. My mom lived very close to some beaches in El Salvador. Due to volcanic activity, the beaches have black sand. So it's really, really cool. If you want to look up like black sand beaches, El Salvador, it's really, really cool. But I have fond memories of it for sure. And that side of the family, there's still some people that are there. Let's see.
Wow, black sand.
Yeah. Niston wants to know what's going on with the sunscreen. I keep seeing posts about it being dangerous. Yeah, look at the amount of skin cancer, the rates of skin cancer and the introduction of sunscreen. Apparently, there are a lot of chemicals in sunscreen that are not good for you.
Yeah, sunscreen is poison. And not only because of the chemicals in the sunscreen, but Josh described this a little bit better. So what it does, it obviously blocks vitamin D.
Yeah.
And then you combine the increased use of sunscreen with the increased consumption of seed oils.
Right. Okay.
And so there's actually a lot of research coming out, and it's kind of also common sense about how like what people are eating, surprise, you are what you eat. It's this rise of processed foods and seed oils is actually causing, that's where the skin cancer comes from.
Oh, interesting.
So when you're blocking out vitamin D and you're putting all the chemicals on your skin.
And then the sun activates that, right? Like, It's kind of interesting when you think about it.
It's very interesting. Look, I want to bring maybe Amy this weekend. Dr. Amy can talk about it.
Well, Emily posted something like, here's a good like natural, I think like they're zinc heavy sunscreens. I can't remember what the active ingredient was in them that seemed to be healthy, but I know we have one for our daughter that is natural and non-chemical. I think. We haven't used it yet, but
right, because we're gonna do a beach trip this summer, so you gotta tell me what that is. I don't ever use sunscreen ever.
Hey, Laurelyn 33188 wants to know, what's your favorite part of doing this podcast? I think I like the questions.
Yeah, I mean, it's not my favorite part.
What's your favorite part then?
My favorite part is having the guests on. I love interacting with the guests. I love seeing the guests.
I like the guests on too. I even like the guests that I have no idea who they are.
Yeah,
because I like. Those are the episodes where I'm probably the most quiet. Like people are like, Mike isn't interrupting anybody. Yeah, I don't know anything about them.
No, yeah, I think my favorite part is definitely the guests because it's great to see friends who are on the show. It's great to just hang out. Yeah, if guests are good. We get good guests.
Oh, I wanted to address this. This is a very easy answer. Dunkaroo22 wants to know, reasons from conservative values for my husband to quit smoking. I've tried everything. If you have kids, just ask them, hey, you want to see your kids grow up? You want to be around with your kids? Don't smoke. It's not healthy.
Yeah, look, here's the thing, guys. Unfortunately, in virtually every single case, there's nothing that you can say to smokers or anybody who has bad health. There's nothing you can say that will change their mind.
Yeah, that's true too.
And I always say this. It's the same question. People always ask me, how do I convince my really liberal friends or family members that they're wrong? How do I convince someone to live healthier?
You just can't.
The answer is this. The only way that you will ever be able to change someone's mind, the most effective way to change someone's mind is to live a life so full and so vibrant and so healthy that they cannot look away. Is to live a life so great that people cannot help but notice. And that is the best way and the most persuasive way to change people's minds. So if your husband is a smoker and if he's a smoker, he's unhealthy. If you want to change his mind, then you got to totally turn your health around. I'm not saying that you're unhealthy, but I'm just assuming that maybe, because look, super healthy people don't marry smokers. Yeah. Okay. So it's just, if you want to have a really big impact on your husband, on your family, on your friends, people around you, if you want them to make changes in their health, you have to start by being the example. And I know that is not the answer people want to hear, but there is literally though, nothing that you can say to your husband that will convince him to stop smoking.
I feel for the guy because smoking is cool. I mean, there also might be a little bit of genetics here at play, just because
genetics too. Yeah.
My father didn't smoke. My mother didn't smoke. His father didn't smoke. I think my other grandfather, I don't think smoked cigarettes. So I don't think I was necessarily predisposed to be addicted to cigarettes. I used to smoke. I smoked heavily from the ages of like 20 to 28, I pretty much smoked a lot. I never got to a pack a day kind of thing, but it'd be like a pack a week. And especially if it was social, it was cigarettes and drinking. But I think now I haven't really smoked all that much. I would smoke a cigarette or two within the last 2 years while I was playing golf, literally a cigarette or two. But after this, I had nerve damage and the doctor was saying, are you a smoker? And I said, yeah, kind of socially, a little bit more liberally than that. And he's saying, well, smoking actually stunts nerve growth. So if you want your nerves to generate faster and on a timeline that we're hoping for, you got to stop smoking. I just don't ever feel the need to.
Just switch to regular tobacco. Just switch to organic tobacco.
American Spirits was one that
see. This is. I want to say something controversial, even though I just preached about being healthy. I actually do not think that tobacco is as bad for you as the federal government says it is. I think what's bad for you is the cigarettes that are being sold today.
Yeah.
But if you look at a lot of cultures that smoke a lot of pure tobacco,
like a lot of Asian dudes who are like 96 years old and they've been doing it their whole lives.
South America, like they smoke a ton of actual, like the tobacco that you get. Like when I was living in South America, I smoked a ton of tobacco.
Yeah.
I got the pack of tobacco and I just rolled it and I smoked it. And I just saw a lot of people around me who use a lot of tobacco, real, natural, organic tobacco.
No one thinks about what's in those filters.
It's the filters. Yeah. They're not dying of lung cancer over there. So I guess another piece of advice would be: can you switch your husband to natural, organic tobacco? Maybe start there.
Yeah. Real Witty Bird wants to know, how can we reclaim the cities, make Detroit, Atlanta, LA nice to live in? Well, I mean, that starts with electing the DAs. That starts with your mayors, and it goes up to governors and stuff like that. But I mean, you look at LA, you look at California. I'm sure, there are beautiful parts of California that are maybe, I guess, red, but you look at San Francisco, Los Angeles, it's just, who's involved there? Who are the DAs that are making decisions to keep criminals on the streets?
I don't know. I kind of think they're just a lost cause at this point.
I mean, I certainly don't like to think so, but yeah, if they keep on electing the same people, then yes. Yeah. I mean, it's the definition of insanity.
Doing the same thing over and over and over again.
What inspired you to start the podcast, and will you ever have Kai Schwemmer on the show? Kai's coming on.
Baby Kai.
Kai is coming on. Gina loves Kai.
I love Kai.
Enjoy
He's
Kai.
So great.
He's coming on the show. We just have to figure out when we're going to be able to.
Junior Patrick Bateman.
Yeah, exactly.
Based Patrick Bateman.
We gotta invite him on to talk about monkeys, man. This kid has this weird obsession with monkeys.
Does he?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That dude can lift heavy.
Oh yeah, I bet. Yeah, he should give me some pointers.
I don't. Can he explain soaking though? Like, what is it with Mormons
he can,
and soaking?
Yeah, I talked about this on someone else's podcast. I got invited to speak on a podcast, and I brought it up. It wasn't even about that.
He brought it up on Elijah's show.
Yeah, he did.
I think. Come on the show, Kai. Can't wait to have you.
I'll text him.
Little baby Kai.
What inspired you to start the podcast? Well, I think I answered this on the AMA. We had drinks with Regis one night after we did a job together, and I said to you, I was like, this should be a show.
Yeah, it was.
It's the birth of Seinfeld. Like George and Jerry sitting in the diner talking, and George is like, "This is it. This should be the show." And Jerry kind of laughs it off, and then they're in NBC pitching that show.
Yeah, exactly.
That's basically how this started.
Yeah, I was prego.
Tips on turning off your phone and being more present. You just have to do it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Tips for doing that is you need to set an alarm on your phone.
David Benway.
Set an alarm on your phone and decide when you want to be phoneless and electronic-less. Set an alarm on your phone and then do it. Put it all away at a designated time.
Do it, David. Chrising. This is a good question for you. It's not specifically for you, but you would have a better answer. Thoughts on remarriage? Chrising? CRSYNG. Thoughts on remarriage, because my biblical understanding is that it's adultery if the ex is still alive.
Yeah, that's a good one. Have I talked about, I was married before when I was a lib.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, have I talked about it on the show?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I was married before as a lib. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, that's a great question. I have yet to really explore that. I mean, because my question in response to that is like, what's a biblical marriage?
Is that something that's based in Levitical law?
Yeah, that's my question, because like I wouldn't think, this is my question, I wouldn't think that like two people that get legally married in a civil ceremony, civil ceremony, would that constitute a biblical marriage?
I don't know.
So those are my questions about it. My husband was also married before, and his wife committed adultery. So we're both.
Why
maybe
would you
we're
say
both.
That? He's right here. I have to look.
Why? No. We're both remarried, but from our bad days, from our good old days.
Maybe
so I don't
next
know.
time we have a religious person on,
That's
we can
a
ask
great
them that
question because I would really like to know the answer to that
I'll
because
write
I
that
think
down.
the whole thing is like what does constitute a biblical marriage? Because I would think that would be getting married in the church.
Return of Heme wants to know, when will I be invited on as a guest? Never. Don't invite yourself on the show. You won't get invited. Return of Heme, you've asked some other good questions here. Maybe one day, but I mean, Risk or Catan? Risk. I love Risk playing.
Risk.
Yeah, Risk is better. Isolationism or interventionism? Isolationism.
Yeah.
I mean, don't drop a nuclear bomb on Puerto Rico, I guess, or maybe. I'm sorry, but growing up in New York, Puerto Rican Day, the parade, that was like one of the most frustrating days to like having to be out and get somewhere in the city.
Yeah.
It's annoying.
Oh.
Rank God, family, country. I as of right now, is the journey of my Christianity. Obviously, I have mine right now at family, God, country. Maybe I know you probably have it ranked
but that
differently.
is ranked the right way.
He's ranked it the right way. That's what I'm saying. That's why
God,
you
family, country.
Yeah. Do you think this is from SC Storm wants to know, do you think the populist or Trumpist, like Republicans, are here to stay, or are they just a fad?
No, I think they're here to stay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're here to stay.
I have to have a little bit more time to think about this.
What Trump represented is so much bigger than Trump, and I think it will stay for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think a great example is like, look at what Nick Fuentes is doing with the America First movement. Like they have taken a lot of ways. They've taken what Trump represented and they're taking it further and they're doing more with it. So I don't think that it's going.
It's growing slowly, I think.
Yeah, I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon.
Six Bodie wants to know, is your pit bull male or female? Female pits are much more docile. I've had one of each, and the female pit was actually more energetic. Not aggressive or anything like that, but just more energy.
Oh.
It's like she was like mixed with like a whippet or something. You know those dogs that just have so much energy?
Like mine.
This is actually we got up to the last question.
Wow.
G. Gracie GG. With the econ, do you believe there'll be a collapse, food shortages, etc.? If so, you prepping? We're not like Discovery Channel preppers, but we do prepare.
Did you bring me eggs today?
No. So we do have eggs, but they've been in the refrigerator for about a week or two, only because I think none of our chickens are producing anymore.
Oh, why?
We don't know.
Are they sad?
There are reasons. They could be sad. I mean, they have really good food. They have really good snacks. I think one just.
Are you gonna be able to take the chickens with you to the new place?
No.
What are you gonna do with them?
I don't know. The owner of the house has agreed to keep them because he's the one who has the run in the backyard.
Chicks.
Yeah, I mean they're good pets, but if they're not producing, it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
Was there anything else we wanted to cover today? Anything else
going on in the news? What sucks about being a freelancer and trying to buy a house? If you haven't been freelancing for 2 years, then it's pretty tough to get a mortgage loan because you need to show income. So for all you guys that are trying to buy a house and you're a freelancer, you have to show at least 2 years of income on a W-2 or whatever. I don't know. I've only been doing it since September of last year, so that was the issue because we have the money to get a house.
Yeah, that's what sucks. I have another friend who's going through
so we
the
have
same
to
thing.
rent for like another year or two.
Everyone's getting kicked out of their house here in Nashville. I other than you, I know 2 other people.
From renting?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And I think
a lot of the owners too are moving back.
Well, I think it's a combination of that and also people just want to sell their house and make a lot of money, or they're really increasing their rent. Like our friends downstairs, they one of them's going to be on the show on Saturday. She said that they're getting kicked out because they tried to increase their rent $500 a month, just like that.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Well, I know in Nashville, I think last year, I don't know if that vote ever went through, that they voted to raise property taxes. I think something like 30%. Dang. Which sounds like a lot, but it kind of isn't when you get down to it. You know, if your property taxes are $1,000 a year,
yeah,
that 30% increase will just be $1,300. So it's an extra $300. But
still,
it is significant, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame.
I don't know if it would justify a rent increase of $500.
Bryson's going through the same thing.
Yeah, I know he was. Yeah.
Yeah, and they still haven't found a place. I think they have to move out in like 5 days. 4 days.
Well,
5 days.
We're moving but staying in the Nashville area. So
okay,
and actually closer to Gina.
Yeah, we're gonna be like 10 minutes away now.
Yeah. Nice.
Which is, I mean, don't carpool with me though.
No, why would I want to?
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because I'm always late.
And if you haven't noticed, Adriana, can you switch to this camera right here? Okay, yeah. If you haven't noticed.
What, this one?
Yeah, no, your eyes.
Oh, I'm a good driver.
Yeah. Why did you pull in so slowly when you pulled into the driveway? Was that because the car's lower and the driveway was raised? I noticed.
He's very,
I noticed. Yeah, I noticed.
So
I saw you guys pull in. I'm like, thank God there were no cars that were coming because you guys literally took 10 seconds. Like turning into the driveway. I was like, what? Why is that happening?
Yeah, he's very careful with the car when it comes to
you guys
the bumps
acted
and
like
stuff.
you had like a dropped Supra with like an inch of space between like the front fender and the ground.
That's why his car is totally spotless and mine is like scratched up.
He also has like a crossover, kind of like me.
But we took my car today.
I did. I saw that.
Yeah, my little tiny car. Anytime someone gets out of my car, I realize how small my car is.
You know what I feel bad about? And I feel like you might have some underlying resentment that you haven't said anything about. When we did the Blexit event in St. Louis, remember when Adriano drove there?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, guys, I can drive. And you're like, yeah, we'll all take turns. And then you drove the whole way back yourself.
I did?
Yeah, you did. But
because you didn't volunteer?
I didn't volunteer, but
no, it's okay.
I think I did volunteer. I was like, you guys want me to drive? And after like we had the
I don't really like people driving my car.
Yeah.
I don't really like people driving my car anyway.
I wonder if you guys got home and were like, Mike didn't even offer, which I think I did.
No, are you kidding? If I wanted you to drive, I would have been like, bitch, get in the car and drive. Get in the driver's seat and drive. But I really just don't. I just don't like people driving my car unless it's my husband.
Not very long drive though to St. Louis.
It was
only kind of nice.
It's only 16 hours. Oh, sorry, 5.
Yeah, that would have been bad. We wouldn't have.
It felt long. I'm going to be going to St. Louis again in June for Summer Smash.
Where's that? Is that at First
It's
Forum?
at First Forum. Summer Smash.
Oh, yeah. Guys,
so
this is episode 29. Episode 30 is going to be.
No, I think this is 30.
Yeah, this is 30. Wow, we made it to 30.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Wow, 30.
What's the anniversary gift for 30 years? Is it gold?
Oh, I don't know. I'm only going to be up
to
the fourth
gold
one.
Investments.
Right, gold maybe. Well, let's see. 3 years was oh Jesus, when was I married? Oh God. 2018. So I'm coming up on the 4th year. 3rd year is leather. 4th year, I don't know what the 4th year is, but 30 years. You've probably gone up to 30. I think they only do that for like the first 20 maybe.
Nah, I think it's like there's something for 50.
What's 4th year? 4th year wedding anniversary.
It says even
what I've done for
Pearl.
Nice.
Pearl.
What I've done for our wedding anniversary is I haven't gotten just a gift for my wife. We've gotten something that we could share together. So the first year was paper. So I commissioned an artist to do a family portrait,
right,
which was nice. And the second year was cotton. So I got an artist to do that weave, the circle weave, and she does like a family portrait, but she does the weaving, like the needle point.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about.
That's in the house.
Yeah.
And then the 3rd year is leather. So I got her. She's vegan, so I got her vegan leather. Which she does like vintage leather.
Yeah.
So it just can't be new leather for her.
Okay.
But I got us a little kind of leather-bound notebook where for the next anniversaries, we can write like a page to each other about what we liked about the last year and, what we experienced and stuff like that. So going forward, 25 years later, we'll have this notebook.
Gosh, we are so not sentimental like that. I feel like we need to start doing things like that.
Well, I love my wife a lot.
Aw.
I tell her that all the time.
Aw.
And she's fantastic.
Let's see. This is going to be our 2nd wedding anniversary this year.
Yeah, so that's cotton.
Cotton.
It's usually like sheets or something like that. Or,
maybe some
clothing.
nice Egyptian cotton sheets. Wow, this episode with Christopher Yuan is doing well. People really liked it.
Yeah. A lot of people wish it could have been longer, but he was getting drug out.
He was.
Not drugged.
Dragged.
Doesn't do that anymore.
Drugged?
Dragged out.
Dragged out.
I said like
he was getting
thing.
drug out.
He's getting drug out,
He's getting drug out.
Getting drug out by the
So
pasture.
the next episode, we're going to have Dr. Amy on. Like I said, she's a chiropractor and a functional medicine doctor. So obviously this is a quick detour from politics and culture.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be really good for you guys who are interested in health. She's going to talk a lot about nutrition. She'll talk, again, like I said, about the history of chiropractic care and why it was dubbed quackery and why that's nonsense.
Get your questions in now for that.
Yeah, get your questions ready.
Yeah, DM us or whatever. Also, no man on the street this week. I'm traveling for work, doing some work, so I won't be able to, I'm going to be gone for 3 or 4 days. So hopefully we'll get back and we'll do it. Next week, we'll go to downtown Nashville again, myself and Adriano. And I think I have an idea for a question. Someone actually submitted it thinking that this would be a good question.
What is it?
It was kind of close to what you said. It was a YouTube comment. I think it was something like along the lines of what you said, like what piece of advice has impacted your life the most significantly.
Yeah.
Which is something interesting. I like those lines of questions.
Those are good questions.
Yeah. Not, hey, you think Biden's doing a good job? Yeah. I don't.
Yeah. Who'd you vote for?
Yeah. I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know who does really good on the street videos that I want to have on the show is Mark Dice.
Oh, yeah. Mark Dice. Yeah, that'd be great.
He's Uber based.
Or Ari, guy Ari who does like Daily Wire stuff. I forget his name.
I wonder how many.
I took his photo.
He's got 1.8 million
Mark
subs.
Dice is a lot.
He's very based.
Okay, let's get out of here, right?
Oh,
I got a call in 15 minutes. Bye,
All right,
guys.
thank you, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.